Hello. Yes. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, wherever you are. Uh, Somewhere again on your screen, trying to discuss how to manage cost when it comes to project management. Our projects are basically technology projects, and for that matter, yes, that is the root and the context that I want us to discuss everything we're gonna discuss here. So I'm happy that yes, I'm here again, and I want you to uh, consume whatever I'm going to discuss. And in case of anything, you can always post, you can always, reach me out for more clarity, supplement, and anything. Yeah, in case you're not live. But those who are live, yeah, nice. We can, of course, do it right away. So for that matter, you're going to allow me, you're going to allow me uh, discuss with you a few things, and the area that I want us to discuss is majorly on cost, how to manage costs when it comes to managing projects. So basically, um, when we talk about cost, in most cases we are basically referring to input in case you want to achieve something, any monetary input that you incur, you know, yeah, maybe in an exchange. So that is basically what I'm concentrating much on. Or we can say it is a resource sacrificed or foregone to achieve a specific what objective or something given up in exchange. You get. So, and these are usually, of course, measured in monetary units like shillings, stock of dirhams, stock of dollars, stock of euros, and whatever. So, project cost management includes processes required to ensure that the project is completed within an approved budget. Because you remember, one of the things that can make your project to be a successful one is to be accomplished in budget. Any project that you do and you don't get any adjustments in terms of cost, it means it is a successful one. Yeah, it is not the only factor that determines the successfulness of a project, but of course it is one of those key. Yeah, we will have time, we will have the cost, we will have the quality. I mean, those are all included in that matter. So project cost management processes, we need to, take it as a process, like I've just said. So estimating costs, this is when you develop an approximation or estimate of the cost of the resources needed to complete a project. So meaning that you need to start by estimating costs, like in any project, be it even now. Like, let me give you an example of a wedding. Yes, you're going to have a wedding preparations, but then you're estimating, like, we are most likely to have like maybe 50 guests. You get. Now 50 guests, I would believe each one can probably eat a plate which goes around maybe 25,000 shillings and so on. You get. And these people are most likely to probably use 60 what? 60 chairs or something. Yeah, because yes, you're budgeting, you're estimating the number of guests as 50, but you never know. Yeah, sometimes the number may shoot, or the number may sometimes even do what? Probably decline. So it is an estimate. So estimating costs is one of the stages that we have to go through, and this is the developing of an approximation or estimate of the costs of the resources needed to complete a project, because in a project there are quite a number of resources that we may need. Now, for our context as a technology people, of course, in that case, we refer to probably hardware, the software, the people, and the other compatible, components that we may need. For example, in a case the project you're working on needs an external API from maybe an external party. For example, in a case you want to come up with maybe a money remittance system, and you want people to send the money that is via your app, whereby this money can be, of course, received via their mobile money numbers and so on. That means, yeah, now you need to get the APIs of like the APIs of the local telecom companies, and those that you want to be your payment methods, so that yes, whatever you sell is in line. So then number two is to determine the budget. Now, determining a budget is allocating the overall cost estimate to individual work items, establish a baseline for measuring performance. Determining a budget. Now, taking you back to the example of a wedding, that is when you can say, yeah, for food, it will be this amount. For chairs, it will be this amount. Decoration, it will be this amount. So you determine, you get. So then the stage number three in project cost management processes we can talk about is controlling costs. Yeah, control changes to project budget, because sometimes, yes, we can say we budgeted for 50 guests, but realize that maybe, according to where we are going to handle and hold our event, their food is quite expensive, whereby now we need to be strict on some things, or we may change the venue and say that, based on the budget we have, probably we need these people to eat food, but based on where we wanted to buy food from, each plate goes for 50,000 shillings, which is quite expensive. Then can we look for something which is a little bit cheaper? So for that matter, that means we need to, that is controlling costs, control changes. Yeah, sometimes, yeah, maybe one week to the wedding, and then someone is like, what, maybe we are most likely to have more people. So there has to be restrictions on when it comes to costs. So basically, that is a cost management process. And here I wanted to discuss with you the basic principles of cost management, whereby we have the tangible costs, of those that you call benefits, are those costs or benefits that an organization can easily measure in shillings, in dollars, in dirhams, and so on. Then there are even those which are intangible costs, which these are costs that are difficult to measure in monetary terms. You get? Yes. There are some, for example, now, if you're working on a money remittance system, we can say, what? Yeah, probably we shall buy maybe a template that we can, work with and then customize. Then there are those intangible costs which are very, very difficult to measure in monetary terms. You get? Yeah, because sometimes you need to do extensive research, whereby you are incurring more time and so on. So then we have even direct costs. These are costs that can be directly related to producing the product and services of the project. As you hear it, this one is self-explanatory. Then the opposite is the indirect costs, which are not directly related to the product, but are indirectly related to performing the project. Yes, yeah. So probably now, maybe now for that matter, we need maybe people who are going to test out, who are going to, run the promotion of this app and so on. Then we have also the sunk cost, is the money that has been spent in the past when you're deciding what projects to invest in or continue. You should not include sunk costs, of course, when you are trying to come up with a budget, because that was, something that was not uh, part of the project, however much you might have done it in the interest of finding better approach to take on your particular project. Then most members of an executive board better understand and are more interested in financial terms than IT terms. So all information systems project managers must speak their language. You get, so profits and revenues minus, of course, expenditure. So this, whenever you intend to start on a particular project, you need to understand that managers or product owners in most cases are interested in the financial or bit rather than the IT terms, you get. So whereby they are interested in knowing which profits are they going to get out of this project. So in that matter, profits, of course, these are revenues minus what? Expenditure. Then profit margin is the ratio of revenues to profits. Life cycle costing considers development plus support costs for a project. Then a cash flow analysis where you have to determine and estimate the annual costs and the benefits for a project, and then resulting annual cash what? Cash flow. Um, then I wanted also to inform you that it is very, very important always to spend money upfront on IT projects to avoid spending a lot more later. You get, yeah, because it will be very good, because yeah, for that matter, you cannot, again, probably um, maybe delay any process because everything has been paid upfront. So we can say that maybe, for user requirements, we are going to spend between 100 to 1,000 maybe US dollars. Then when it comes to the coding stage, we shall spend maybe 1,000 US dollars or more. Then system testing, meaning that each stage of the project management life cycle must have a budget allocated for it. That, how do I get to know the requirements of this particular project? By, of course, collecting data from the stakeholders. That means, yeah, you need to allocate budget for that. Then when it comes to coding, I need now the people, the developers who are going to do what? To turn the requirements into the product itself. Then that means you tie a certain budget for that. Then we have also system testing, which can also consume some money, which is, of course, obviously um, uh, between, maybe we can say, 7,000, 8,000. Then acceptance testing also 1,000. Then after implementation, there is, that uh, cut across process code maintenance, which is almost uh, the entire life of the project. Yeah. Then what I wanted, what else to tell you also is that many organizations use IT to reduce operational costs, and you need to know that, yeah, there is no single organization that is going to bring IT in place when they are just expecting to spend more and more out of it. No, they try to bring technology on the ground so that they can reduce and simplify the operational costs on other items. You get, for example, in case maybe a company has been using manual papers, that is maybe to record mark, like now if it is a school whereby They have to record marks for students. They have to register them using papers and so on. So you realize that they're going to be spending a lot of money on maybe buying papers, buying pens, and so on, day in, day out. Now, once they maybe contract you to come up with what we call maybe a computerized system that can perform that students records management system, that means they are trying to see how this new innovation can help them cut on the what operational costs. Yeah, technology has decreased the costs associated with the processing and ATM transaction. Yeah, as you know, cost like now in maybe 1968, the average cost was around maybe $5. Then in 1978, the cost went down to 1.5. 1988, the cost was just, nickel. Then 98, then the other one was 88. Now in 98, it only costs a penny. Then in 2000s, the cost was just half a penny. You get so. Uh, okay. Now, investing in green IT and other initiatives has, of course, helped both the environment and the company's bottom lines, according to research that was conducted by Michael Dell, the CEO, of course, of that Maite company called Dell. And that is when he reached his goal to make his company carbon neutral. That was around 2008. Yeah. So estimating the costs is uh, when project managers must take cost estimates serious if they want to complete projects within budget constraints. You get, yeah, you need really to consider that step of project, the cost estimates, very, very important. Um, it's important to know the types of cost estimates, how to prepare cost estimates, and the typical problems associated with the IT cost estimates. Yeah, so basically, then when we are estimating costs, we can say there could be maybe some types of cost estimate we can use, talk of rough order or magnitude, the budgetary as well as the definitive. Yeah, probably in the document that I will share alongside with this video, you'll be able to go through those different types. Then cost management plan. A cost management plan is a document that describes how the organization will manage cost variances on the project. So meaning that yes, we don't just estimate and leave things there, but you need to document and put everything on record whereby, yeah, that can help in terms of referring to it. So a large percentage of total project costs are often labor costs. So project managers must develop and track estimates for labor. In most cases, yeah, the people who are going to make this project come to reality must be given much, much attention while trying to estimate your cost for the project. So um, cost estimate tools and techniques. How do we now, yeah, we have what we call the tools that we can use when we are trying to estimate what costs. Yeah, we have tools and techniques. These tools and techniques for cost estimates, we can talk of what we call the top-down estimates. Top down, top down, you get use the actual cost of the previous or similar projects as the basis for estimating the cost of your current one project. In case you have ever developed maybe a money remittance system, let's say maybe World Remit, you get. So in case another client comes, they are in need of a similar one, maybe let's use an example of SendWave, you get. Those two are all popular money remittance systems. Yeah, that means now you can use the cost that was incurred during the development of World Remit to determine what SendWave will do what will cost. You get bottom, that is called top down. Yeah, because you base on what has been done before to determine the cost of the current project. Then there is another technique we can use, that is when you are trying to estimate costs. You have to use also what we call the bottom up estimate. Bottom up, which involves estimating individual items or activities and summing them to get the project what? Total. Meaning that bottom up, you are going to base on the work items which have been identified in your project. For example, you say, when I want to come up with this new project of money remittance system, I need to design I need first of all to collect data so that I understand the requirements. That means you give it a cost. Then I have to design the user interfaces. I need to develop the database. I need to register it in the authorities and so on. So you base on what is going to be done to determine each activity and tie the cost to each one. Then we also have another technique we can call parametric modeling, which uses project characteristics or parameters in a mathematical model to estimate project what? Costs. Now, a parametric model might provide an estimate of 50 line code software development project, which are based basically on like programming languages in use, the level of expertise, the programmers, the size and the complexity of the data involved. That is parametric you get in nature, which uses just characteristics in a mathematical model to estimate project costs. Yeah, now characteristics I'm talking about, which programming language do you need to use, and then what is the level of developers you need. Do you need senior developers, you need intermediaries, you need younger developers, and so on. So you can use that also to determine the cost, I mean to estimate the cost. Then constructive cost model, which is most times called the COCOMO. It was basically reviewed or brought on board by a man called Barry Boehm. And then, according to Okomo, or according to him, the Kokomo model is used to estimate, of course, the cost, the effort, and the schedule when planning a new software project. So according to software development practices that were of course commonly used in the 1990s, yeah, it used to work well for them. And the parameters for that matter include function points, technology independent, then source lines of code. We shall see the details. Then we have constructive cost model, which I will share in the slides so that you can read more about it as a case study. Now, when we are doing cost estimate, sometimes there are problems that we basically, face. And the typical problems with the IT cost estimates. Now, developing an estimate for a large software project is complex task. You get it is not something that you can just wake up one day and then estimate. So it requires a significant amount of effort if it is to really come to a productive reality. So people who develop estimates often do not have much experience. That is what normally causes the major problem. So human beings are biased towards underestimation. So sometimes someone can overhype a project cost, or sometimes they can do over lower it. So management might ask for an estimate, but really desire a deal to win a major contract or get internal funding. Sample cost estimates we can see um, the details that I managed to come up with in the slide that I'm going to attach. Yeah, but also another way of doing it is you can do this by coming up with what we call WBS, which is the work breakdown structure category. You categorize work items, then you can based on that to create a cost model which can make it easier to make changes to and document the estimate very well. So you will go through those. Then after estimating, then we have to determine the budget. Cost budgeting involves allocating the project cost estimate to individual items over time. You get. So now for this process number two of determining the cost, determining the budget after estimating the cost, we can use the work breakdown structure is required input to the cost budgeting process since it defines the work items. With work breakdown structure is when you decide to come up with what we call micro work items. Yeah, you try to break down the big future of a project. For example, login, I mean authentication. We can say in authentication, we are going to have both um, 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 we are going to have maybe register that is onboarding, then also login. You get. So and then we can say, under login, what can we use? Which parameters do we need to establish our login? You get. So most organizations have a well-established process for preparing budgets. It is important to understand the budget categories before developing an estimate to make sure that it is collected accordingly. Important goal is to, of course, produce a cost baseline, a time-phased budget that project managers use to measure and monitor cost performance. Then the last one, the last stage is the cost control, whereby project cost controls includes monitoring cost performance, ensuring that only appropriate project changes are included in revised cost what baseline. So, um, Microsoft Project has tools to set a baseline, calculate variances, and run various cost work reports. So, many organizations around the globe have programs with cost control, whereby and the value management is an important tool for cost work control. So, and the value management is one of the things that I've included in the what in the slides in details so that you can go through and yeah, really understand it better. So, rate of performance is the ratio of actual work completed to the percentage of work planned to have been completed at any given time during the life of the what project. Rate of performance. Yeah, you firstly lay out what was supposed to be accomplished by this time versus what has been accomplished. So you're trying to rate your performance you get. So uh, suppose the server installation was halfway completed by the end of the week one. The rate of performance would be, of course, 50%. That is in case it was halfway completed, because by the end of the week one, the planned schedule reflects that the task should be 100% completed and only 50% of the work has been completed. So that is the rate of what? Performance. So variance and the indices. Cost variance is the earned value minus the actual cost, as we shall see in details. Then we shall also look at the schedule variance, which is the earned value minus the planned value. Then we shall also go through the cost performance indices, which is the ratio of the earned value to actual cost, and so on. So then All those have formulas that I will probably discuss with you. Then um, I need to, okay, there is also what we call the project portfolio management, whereby many organizations collect and control an entire suite of projects or investment as one set of interrelated activities in a portfolio. Yes, you have like a suite where various projects. The way you see Microsoft suite, it has Word, it has Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, blah blah. You get. So even when it comes to project portfolio management, an organization can collect and control an entire suite of projects, various projects. You can be working on money remittance system, you can be working on like a ticketing system, you can be working on maybe a medical solution. All of those can be, the suite of one. Like they can be controlled, in one suite, all those projects. So as one set of interrelated activities in a portfolio. So project portfolio management has 5 levels. Put all your projects in one database, prioritize the project in your database, divide your projects into 2 or 3 budget based on type of investment, then automate the repository whereby every person gets to know when to push and when to upload, who does what, and so on. Apply modern portfolio theory, including risk return tools that map project risk on a curve. Then the benefits of project management. Uh, there is what we call a return on investment of implementing portfolio management software by IT departments. So meaning that, yeah, normally once you have portfolio management well, you can reduce on the what IT management time spent on project status reporting, decrease the time to achieve financial sign-offs, and so on. There are so many. Then using software to assist in cost management, we can use spreadsheets. Many companies use more sophisticated and centralized finance application softwares. Project management software has many related features, which is like enterprise project management software and so on. Excuse me. So that is basically what I wanted to share with you. My class, I'm going to share the slide that contains what I've been discussing about in our model lecture, so that you have a clear comparison between the video as well as the what, as well as the the slide. Yes, because I want you to watch the slide when you are following the I want you to watch the video when you are following the slide as well. Yeah, because they are interrelated. Yeah, these are all components of one uh, system. You get called a lecture about cost management. So I'm going to upload this immediately, whereby I need you to get the lecture slides as well as this video, and then you follow. Yeah, whereby um, you need to keep scrolling the slide basing on the explanation that I'm gonna be doing what, of course, providing here. Otherwise, I wish you well, and thanks for watching this video. Bye bye for now.